Hello, listeners, and welcome to Connecting the Dots with DelRo. I am your host, Dillon Del Rosso. I want to congratulate you guys on making it to the basement floor of this podcast, episode 0, where I will be introducing myself, giving you guys a little bit more of a background on me, where I come from, my story, as well as a little bit more information as to why I wanted to start this podcast and where I'd love to see it go with all of you. And so, obviously, just a quick synopsis, if you will, of the podcast. We're going to be showcasing the power of networking. Myself and my guests are going to be sharing stories, odd encounters, successes, failures, tips and tricks, and really just everything. Just want to talk. And so we're going to be, again, showcasing how we use networking both professionally and personally, and where it's gotten us so far in our careers and how we do it. And so without further ado, I'd love to give you guys a little bit more information on me. So Dillon Del Rosso, aka DelRo. By the way, little backstory on the name. I can't take full credit for it. It was my father's nickname first. It's also mine and my brother's. We're all DelRo. So a little bit on me. I'm a North Jersey guy, born and raised from a small town, Hopatcong, New Jersey. Many of you have been mispronouncing that my entire life. But I am from there, and I grew up an athlete. And so I was a baseball guy primarily. Love baseball. Was a majority of my life for most of my life. But I play basketball, big golfer, love tennis, love football, all of it. And so, but again, baseball was my true passion. I was left-handed. Not that meant much for me at the plate. Was never really a great hitter. But I was a left-handed pitcher, and although I'm a big guy, velocity was never really my thing. It was never really the flamethrower. But I was good enough to get one Division III offer to go play college baseball from the Cougars, Misericordia University. And so that's where I went. I just wanted to play baseball at the highest level. And for me, Division III was the highest level. And so I ended up at MU. I played 4 years of college baseball there, had an incredible experience. I also studied sport management. So I wanted to work in sports. I developed a real passion for it in college. And so naturally ended up in sales, kind of, with my personality, and sports being the first conversation I can have. I ended up with the Aspire Group and the University of Maryland. So quick story, it was the last day of my college career, both as an athlete, as a baseball player, and as a student. We had just lost our final game at the regional level at PNC Field up in Moosic, Pennsylvania, Scranton, for your Office fans out there. And was walking back to the van, crying like a little baby, and got a call from Howard Ticker. Shout out Howard. Hopefully we'll get him on the show. But he offered me a job with the University of Maryland and the Aspire Group as a new business sales consultant, as entry level as it gets, to come in and start cranking out some phone calls and selling some Terp tickets. And so I started with them immediately after I graduated in 2016, moved down to College Park and got started. Absolutely loved it. I was fortunate, it came naturally to me. I think the Terps fans and alumni were excellent, always showed up, so put a little bit more money in my pocket, which was nice. And so I developed really, really great relationships as a professional and personally, just lifelong friends through Maryland. And so was there for about 2.5 years, was promoted a couple times to senior new business consultant and then again to team leader of new business, where I was in kind of not a manager role by any means, but had some management responsibilities, if you will, overseeing the 4 or 5 other sales reps on the new business team. And so loved it there, moved up the ladder, had success, and ultimately was ready for the next challenge. And so I wanted to see what I was made of. I wanted to sell at the next level, and had an opportunity to go join the New York Jets. And so I joined the Jets as a manager of premium partnerships, which means essentially I was selling their luxury suites at MetLife Stadium to businesses in New York. And you wouldn't believe how many people, when you tell them that, still would think luxury suites like candy, like high-end candy. I got that way more than I should have. But no, sold the skyboxes, the luxury suites for the Jets. And I grew up a Jets fan and a Yankee fan. So it was an opportunity for me to get home. It was an opportunity for me to work for the team I rooted for growing up. And it was a no-brainer. And so, not to mention, I think I was underqualified for that role. But they took a shot on me. And so I joined them last April of 2019. Definitely the cool job, right? Meeting all the players, alumni, celebrities, going to all these events in the city. Gained a quick 40 pounds, having to eat and drink professionally to schmooze clients and whatnot. But so had just an incredible experience with the Jets. I was really lucky to get into a department that was led really well. From the top down, we just had a great, tight group. And so that's really where I learned how to network on a big level in New York City, face-to-face, selling and going to these events and being in the same room as these presidents and CEOs of these Fortune 500 companies. Meanwhile, I'm in my suit that my mom got me from Kohl's, which is still a very nice suit, Mom. Thank you if you're listening. But my point is, I had to grow up quick, and I had to figure out how to sell in this aggressive New York market with a team that, frankly, hadn't been performing to the best of their ability on the field the last few years. And so it was a lot of fun and had a great first year and was getting ready for year two. Obviously, then pandemic hit in March and sent us all home to our apartments here. Now, I was very fortunate. The Jets, I think one of a very small handful of teams throughout this entire pandemic to not have fired, their sales staffs, and they really value their employees. So I was really thankful to hold on to a job. Now, obviously, the best time to look for a job is when you have one. And so that's what I did. Not to mention I had all the time in the world. There were no suites to sell. And so I no longer was chasing a revenue goal. I didn't have a product to sell. And so I started networking from sunup to sundown nationwide. Anybody with an interesting job, title, position, platform, influencer, I wanted to know more. And I asked them everything there was to ask about their journey, both personally and professionally. And at the end of 30 minutes, one of my strengths is listening and connecting the dots. And so after only 30 minutes, they were receiving 3 or 4 referrals from me just because I have this network and all these individuals that I've been chatting with day in and day out, just going on what felt like 6 or 7 blind dates a day, just living in 30-minute intervals in this Zoom box that we're all so familiar with now. But anyway, I met so many incredible people in such a short amount of time. I realized how big the world was outside of sports. I found that my passions were really people and sales, and sports was really just my preferred platform in that first conversation that I was able to have. And so through some great friends and some referrals and some great opportunities, I landed with Success Communications Group, or SCG for short, as their Vice President of North Regional Sales. They are a full-service advertising and public relations firm in Parsippany, New Jersey, Morris County. And I have to tell you, I've been with them almost 2 months now, and things could not be going better. I really feel as if I struck gold with these guys. They're a legitimate full-service agency. They've been around for 60 years, and head of every department, every single employee has been doing this for a very long time and incredibly skilled at what they're doing, both on the PR, advertising, recruiting, everything. And so I'm learning a lot very quickly. I jokingly said that I could not even define PR when I took this job. However, the great thing and the best thing about this opportunity, and really what solidified me wanting to take this leap, was they believed in me and kind of trusted my process. So what I mean by that is I had obviously taken the last 6 months as a full-time networker, and I didn't want to slow any of that down. It was already resulting in business for me, opportunities for me and everybody else. And so what SCG has really allowed me to do is continue doing exactly what I was doing through this entire pandemic, and that's connect full-time with you guys. And they recognize that if they allow me to do what I'm best at, this networking and this connecting, that it's going to result in opportunities for them to close business. And, so far so good. And I really could not be happier with my decision and the support I have from this company and this family that I've entered into. And I'll tell you, the way they pitched this to me, and definitely was exciting for me to kind of put the pieces together. I wanted to be an entrepreneur with corporate resources. And that's exactly what SCG has provided me. And so that's my story. I'm still learning from home. I've only been in this industry for 6 or 7 weeks. But as all of you know, I am learning as much as I can, as fast as I can, connecting with all of you. Because for the life of me, I can't pick up a book or, even read an article. So I thank all of you for picking up the phone. Just a little bit more on why I wanted to start connecting the dots with DelRo. And so I wanted to share my passion for connecting with people. It's been my whole life. I've always wanted to be everybody's best friend. That is the goal, is be everybody's friend and mean it. And so I also wanted to share that it's not as hard as so many of you think it is to build this network and to be a strong connector personally, professionally. It's not as hard as you think. You just got to pick up the phone. I tell a lot of these people that I mentor, and I hate that phrase. I'm a 26-year-old trying to figure it out myself, but I tell my story. And a lot of individuals seem to take to this give first mentality. When I didn't have anything to sell for 7 months, that's when I built all this network and this great opportunity for myself. And so I just wanted to share all this with you guys. And I know that the guests that we're going to be having on the show are going to be doing an even better job of displaying their successes in their industries and how they utilize networking every day, day in and day out. And I also wanted to share with you guys a little bit more about where I'm networking, at least as of right now. LinkedIn is everything for me. Without it, I don't exist as a professional. But I'm getting on Zoom. I'm getting on the phone. I'm getting in these Google Meets. I'm doing all of these networking groups, anything and everything. It's just been a really interesting time. I think, more than ever, we have a captive audience. People are tuned in right now. Everybody feels like they need to know everything. And so, it's just been an incredibly interesting 7 months here, and who knows where we're going to be in another 7-8 months, but hopefully I'll still be here recording this podcast for you guys. So other than that, I really don't have too much else to share here on episode 0. If any of you have questions for me, for future guests, whatever it may be, please let me know. We'll be blasting this on a bunch of different platforms. We'll have a video as well as an audio version. But other than that, thanks so much for tuning in. Incredibly excited to go on this journey with all of you. Thanks so much. Welcome to the show.